Hey, how's it going? My name is Dan McDonald. I'm the Life Regenerator here on YouTube. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Life Regenerator Show. I am here in Kauai, the beautiful Kauai. I really wish you could see this, but being that we had to grab the sun so that we could have a decent shot and not be shadows. But we're overlooking quite a bit of beauty. We're feeling a lot of restoration, and we're going through some transformation. At least I am. I feel like with the Raw Bros help, JP and Benjamin, we are having some evolution here for myself personally. Of course, I just told JP a few minutes ago, I make everything work out for my benefit. I hope that you can be inspired by that too. To wherever you land, you know, like flourish where you land, where you are right now. So I want to thank the Raw Bros for inviting me out. I have to admit, I'll take a minute and then we'll wrap a little bit, guys, but I had some resistance. I didn't know what to expect. In the past, we've been friends, but I've never really actually opened up my heart. And over the last 6 months, I've really had an opportunity to start sort of dropping my guard and letting people in. And so I had a little bit of resistance, but with your Radical Honesty workshops, which I think are incredible, I really think you guys have definitely grown over the last couple years, and I'm having a great time. So I just wanted to share with everybody how awesome this is, and you should meet these guys here because they're incredible human beings. So how's the salad?
It's great, man. This is not my first one. We had it last night, and we're on day 2, so it's that good.
Cool. So we've been eating some good raw foods, a lot of fruit from the property. Dan, you kind of put this thing together for the most part. You did a lot of the groundwork.
Yes, I did.
Was it a lot of work?
Oh yeah, but you know the old cliche saying, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and I love doing this. So it was a lot of play, a lot of hard effort playing.
What made you think of Hawaii?
Well, Kauai in particular, I think, is like one of the rawest islands I've been to, and when we're trying to really connect with ourselves, I think it helps to be unplugged from the rest of the society. And considering that we are actually in an off-the-grid home, during this interview, our feet are grounded to the earth, or a rock imported from Indonesia. Oh no, these are actually Hawaiian rocks. But I think it really helps with the basis of the retreat being to lose your mind, come to your senses. I think it's a lot easier to come to your senses when you're kind of unplugged from all the super stimulation of our society.
So the super stimulation of our society versus the super stimulation of pontoon boat rides, dude, where I was probably the happiest I've been in a long time. Actually, just to let you know, there's a pontoon video going to the Insiders Club. So if you want to see that, I made a 20-minute video of the pontoon boat ride, which so far is the highlight. I mean, you guys are like, this guy's like a kid, you know. I'm on the front. Yeah, this is awesome.
I know, the guy was like, that's the most dangerous spot to be in. You're like, bring it on!
So, T-Man, what's your favorite part of the retreat so far, bro?
Just getting to experience a real connection with people, and like super excited to have Dan here and Sophia as well, because actually Dan is our original inspiration to get involved with this more conscious lifestyle. Started with raw foods. We were watching him in our living room with our family, sending him a message all the time, but he never responded at that time. So to have you here and to really be able to experience you on this type of level of intimacy is like, it's a dream come true, along with everyone else that's here.
That was part of, it seems like when we were talking in the Radical Honesty workshop, you guys just kind of wanted to get to know me better. Is that a good, fair to say?
Pretty much it. I think originally our kind of like-minded interest in our career of inspiring others was what drew us to you. But then we saw that kind of getting in the way, so we just wanted to come and hang out. We didn't want it to be all about the videos and all about that.
Yeah.
Because we just saw him as a brother that we could connect with him on a deeper level than what's shown on camera. And sure enough, I think we have so far.
And so you guys are basically just trying to, through your Raw Bros YouTube channel, you're just trying to inspire people to live more.
Yes, to get high on life, to increase your level of aliveness by, to borrow the saying one more time, lose your mind and come to your senses.
So my niche trip is like kind of raw foods, detox, spirituality. Your guys' is kind of the Radical Honesty? workshops? Or
I would say that's one way, a tool that we use to feel more alive. Like in everyday conversations, it's easy to get bored with like very common surface level type conversation. But if you really expose yourself, all of a sudden you can have the same thrill as you would have jumping off a cliff into the ocean. So to feel that alive all the time is really something special.
And we used to travel the world doing that, like bungee jumping, surfing. Like, how can we feel more alive today? Kind of alive junkies, junkies on life. But when, like Timothy, the example he used, you can get that same rush from a conversation with each other. So now we're doing both. We're doing those conversations in an environment like Kauai.
I'm really impressed with your guys' work with the Radical Honesty. It's just, I have, honestly, I'll say this, that I think I've evolved in the last 3 days more than I have in the last 3 months. You guys have really, it really empowered me to just to step into my power, to do what I love, to just do what I love. And then if anyone has resistance to that, then that's kind of like, I'm seeing that as their problem. Like, I'm just really feeling like I need to do what makes me happy. And I'm doing it. So I'm like, yo, who wants raw foods? Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? And like, that was my way of having fun. So I appreciate you guys letting me just step into my thing, do yours. And I want to inspire people to do their thing. And then I want to step over to JP, who is a very epic human being who really transformed me within the first 2 sentences that he said. And I thought, wow, now this guy is awesome. And it's just because I think you saw something in me. I'm not going to say what you said because it could have come across as an ego thing. But it was really nice that you recognized something that I recognize in myself. It's like when you're really who you are, you're really strange, but you're also really, really awesome too. Yeah. And I think that you saw that awesomeness where a lot of people see my weirdness. So I don't really know you that well, JP, but I want to know where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from San Diego, California. I do emotional healing work with clients, workshops, retreats. And you mentioned about like being who you really are. For me, the most thrilling ride any of us can take, which is what we've been doing on this retreat, and it's what you and I were doing the other morning, the most thrilling ride is jumping into our own heart. And I'm not talking about the parts of our heart that we know about. I'm not talking about the parts of our heart that represent who we think we are, nor who we want to be. I'm talking about who we really are. Who we really are, the mystery of who we really are. For me, that is the most meaningful ride we can ever take and the scariest ride. All the wise people suggest that the greatest fear of humankind is the fear of intimacy. It's very interesting. Yesterday, we all jumped off a cliff, 45 feet high. It was scary. Yet most of us did that. And it's very interesting when we're sitting around the circle in the living room, how people are just about to take a plunge into their own heart, how they're shaking and trembling even more in the living room at the prospect of going into their own heart than they were compared to jumping off a 45-foot cliff with water not really deep enough to jump into, but we did it anyway. So for me, that's not only the thrill ride of life, but that's what gives life meaning, where we go from surviving life to actually living life.
Sort of like being vulnerable and being like, a lot of people are really tapping into places of them that they're not comfortable with. There's a lot of uncomfortable moments.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot of us, it seems like we just avoid that. We'll sort of circumvent. And what I've been doing lately myself is, as I evolve, it's like, yo, bring on the darkness. Where does it hurt? How deep can I dive into it? I want to get through this and like come out on the other side smelling like a rose, because I was running from fear and stuff like that. So the work that you do it's kind of getting people to go into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Because that's what we are. We're not just good. That's what we like to believe we are. But we judge ourselves to be good, we judge ourselves to be bad, we judge ourselves to be ugly, and who we are also lies in a field beyond our judgments. And Dan, you mentioned my favorite nutrient, vitamin V, vulnerability. I mean, to me, that is the gateway. That's what we want to go into if you want to step into who you are. That for me is the most valuable nutrient we can possibly experience. And I would actually say I've experienced Dan's cooking, or lack thereof of cooking, but his food prep. What I love most about your food prep is you bless it with vulnerability. You go into a prayer, which for me is bowing down into a state of humble surrender, which is vulnerability. And to serve that up in the form of food in a bowl, I mean, that's just a blessing right there. That's awesome.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed getting to know you for this brief amount of time. It's the vulnerability that what I was resisting when I came in. As soon as we got into it, and you guys just kind of, nobody really hammered me. You just sort of let me speak, and I really felt a lot of freedom from that. So I really appreciate what you guys have done for me these last few days. I want to talk to Benji, man. I want to let everybody know, you've really been, you really build me up without stroking my ego. I think you see the things in me that I like about myself. And I didn't know that, I mean, we've met before. Some of you might already know Benji.
We did a video, yeah.
Yeah,
together.
but I didn't really know that you really enjoyed my videos, and they've really inspired you. So it's been cool to hang out and drive in the convertible and hang out with you, bro.
Yeah.
You're a YouTuber, kind of, or more. What do you do?
Well, I am a YouTube vlogger, and I also have a food channel. I'm inspired to inspire other people about food, and that's why coming to this retreat, I'm just as much a fan of you guys as I am a guest, because I watch your videos and I'm inspired, all of you guys. And I just recently met JP, and to be able to experience your guys' respective philosophies in food, I know that I've gained from it. And watching your videos is one thing, but when you're here in person to do that, and I want to do that in my videos. So when I come to things like this and I get to interact with you guys, I like to take what I learn and put it on my channel. So hopefully not only will they learn from me directly, but hopefully go to your channels and get what I got out of them too. So that's why I'm here at the retreat, and that's what I like to do on YouTube.
I'm going to do a video plug thing right here in the middle. So I want you to express where people can find your cool videos, man.
Okay, so I'm Benji, and you can find me at BenjiMan TV. And if you want to sneak into my life, I have a vlog with my wife called It's Judy's Life. So
I definitely want to recognize Benji real quick, as I don't know, it was a year ago probably when he, I think, initially acknowledged the idea, like, hey, let's do a retreat in Hawaii. And I'm not sure if you even said, let's get Dan the Man on that too, but to see that vision of yours come into play is like beautiful. It's awesome.
Thanks, Benji.
Super stoked to be here, for sure. It's because, and one of the things that would be kind of cool to address is like the food trip. Like, every person here has a totally different diet, and I really have no problems with that whatsoever. Everybody's eating whatever they want, and I'm just offering my little raw food thing. And it's cool to just know that, there's so much out there, oh my God, here's your percentage, or, oh, you eat raw vegan, oh, you eat bee pollen, I can't hang out with you. I mean, it's just, it goes so far beyond bizarre, and it's so cool to be able to hang out here and learn from each other, grow with each other, laugh like crazy, get a little mad at each other, get inspired by each other, and not have the food trip this is not a food trip retreat, which is kind of refreshing for me. But of course, then again, I never shut up about the raw foods, and I make juice for whoever wants it, and salads, and so that's really cool that we can, for once, there's a retreat that isn't solely based on what your dietary habits are. We can all be friends, and we can all get along regardless of what we like to put into our mouth. So is there anything else that anyone wants to share? We got together and prayed before this video. I mean, I can keep asking great questions, but I was going to go to JP. Where can we find you, bro?
Yeah, on YouTube, my channel is Awaken with JP. You can also check out my website, innerawakeningsonline.com. Got workshops, classes. I think I'm a cool guy. You're welcome to check me out.
I think you're very talented, bro, and I recommend anybody that wants to get some good feedback and learn more about the heart and good communication skills, then you want to definitely check out my boy JP right there, who's going to represent the Raw Bras.
I was hoping to hear Nathaniel talk, because he's always got something radical to say.
Oh, pressure.
Yeah, put him on the
Where
spot.
can we find you?
Find us on the YouTube under youtube.com/rawbras. We're also on Facebook. But there was something I did want to say. It was cool to see, hear you say you've had the transformation in the last 3 days that you've had, because coming into the retreat, you were very, what I would call resistant.
Yeah.
And actually, like, anti.
I wasn't
Well, we were-
anti. You guys were you guys feeling that sort of like, where's all the videos promoting the retreat, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But just to hear, I mean, so when you tell me, that you like what's going on here, it feels super genuine, because you weren't like that from the start. So
I just didn't know what to expect, and so I didn't know how to approach it. And now, if we do a retreat again, I will know that I will be like, this is 100%. It has nothing to do with the food trip. This is just, we're all going to eat what we want to eat, and then we're going to get together and we're going to try to push each other's buttons, love each other, communicate, and learn something. It's like you guys have almost a chaotic way of making cool things happen, And I'm not used to that. That was my resistance. It's like, where's the itinerary, bro? And you're like, well, there isn't one.
The title, we sometimes use the phrase expect nothing, experience everything. The title of this retreat was Expect Nothing But the Truth in Kauai. Do you think that was a pretty accurate title thus far?
Yeah, and it started off the first night where you and Timothy had to come in and say, yo, this is what's up, and then that began a process for me where I got some buttons pushed, and then I had to sit with that. I didn't sleep well, because I do feel bad that I was resistant, because I didn't really know why. And then you guys were like, yo, what's up? What's up with the resistance, bro? And I'm like, well, I don't know, And then finally, when I had a chance to just speak and we had a chance to clear the air, I literally feel like I lost like about 100-pound weights off both of my shoulders. Not just from our experience personally, but like just in my life, to where I'm going to be able to have more faith and go into things with a little bit better attitude, But like I'm really thriving here under these circumstances.
That's inspirational for us to hear. And before I forget, for the sake of Radical Honesty, I do want to say that we were inspired by the book Radical Honesty.
Yeah.
And our friend Perzan, he has a YouTube channel, Authentic Evolution, I think. But we used to do retreats with him, and he trained under Brad, the author of the book Radical Honesty, and that's what kind of inspired us to pass this message along. And we're hoping the same thing happens at this retreat, because we've found when you live inside out and you see each other for their soul and their heart, and we stop pretending and being real. That sounded like a Real World plug or something. But it's true that you'll find that what we think is the very most personal thing is what's actually most universal, and it connects us more so. That intimate vulnerability is what connects us more so than our jobs or our cars or our houses or our diets even.
I'm willing to bet that like everybody here has realized that we're all a little bit crazy. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And we're all crazy in different ways. And what I've seen is that everyone has their own little genius, like the singing or all the acrobatics or just like Sophia's elegance, and then all your guys' tricks and strength, and JP, and then Benji, man, he really made me feel super cool about what I do with my life, with my YouTube channel, and I've kind of needed that. And everyone has such a great gift. And right now I'm so inspired, because what I'm doing is like, my gift is like making food, talking about food. And I just grabbed that and I just said, yo, everyone give me $10 and I'll make these wraps, and everyone loved it. And I want people to like get empowered in their life because I was thinking, this is what came into my head, is that like about 1/5 of the time you're doing what you love, and then 4/5 of the time you're doing obligation, responsibilities. When I think that it could be a lot more of a percentage of you spending your time doing what you love. And I think when we do that, we have to have faith that the universe is going to support us, and I'm moving in that direction of just going with my heart instead of going with my linear left brain mathematical strategic model of how to get more numbers and how to make more money. I'm really hoping that I have the courage to just follow my heart. And I've been doing that here, and I've been really enjoying just making food for people and seeing like what I want to do with my time. And I want to talk to people about that more in the future, about taking more time to do what you love and having more faith that you're going to be supported by the universe,
Yeah, I was gonna say I was really inspired by your breakthrough today about what you resist persists.
Yeah.
With the headache, I'm sure your followers know something about that.
Slightly.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just cool to see like once you embrace like this thing you've been trying to resist for so long, you said it started to go away.
Yeah, I did a Facebook post and it got a lot of people liked it and they said this is exactly what I needed to hear. And I don't know why I didn't learn from before with the drugs and alcohol how I stopped resisting, and then all of a sudden I had a major breakthrough. And then this morning I was meditating and had another major breakthrough of just embrace what you're resisting. Like, I need to fix myself. Oh, I need to hurry up and lose this weight before the wedding, or I need to stop eating so much chocolate chip cookies, or I need to do better on my taxes, or whatever it is, that you're not accepting about yourself and you're resisting. I think it's a good idea to embrace that part of you, and then that resistance can be broken down, and then you can have more of an experience of wholeness instead of this part of me is okay and this part of me is okay, but this part of me is not okay. And why we do that, and then a lot of us, we aren't aware of it, and then we just project it, and then there's all this war and lack of understanding and compassion. So embracing our shadow is, I think, going to be helpful.
I think that's the best way to overcome these so-called problems or ailments, is to start embracing what you're most embarrassed about, like chasing your fears instead of running away from them, to chase them. If you think about a stray dog, the last thing you want to do from a stray dog is run away from it, because it's going to chase you. But if you look at it right in its eyes and it sees that you have the courage to stand up, what does that dog do? It backs away and goes somewhere else.
Interesting. Great analogy.
Yeah, so that's what we're basically trying to do here, create this context where we're embracing all these things and living outside our comfort zone.
Yep. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity that when you came here, whether you want to call it a little resistance or conflict, I'm grateful for that conflict, because we could have either ignored it and just pretended like everything's would go right. Dan would have left and we would have been like stuck in this space where we really didn't get to know each other. But instead, we were both willing. Dan was willing to be like, look guys, this is what's up with me. We listened, and now we've connected on a more intimate level because we are willing to dive into that conflict. So sometimes conflicts can be your ultimate blessing.
After knowing you guys all these years, I feel like we finally connected. And I think a lot of it was just me, who I've been. My heart is, I'm just trying to open up and be more vulnerable, be more intimate. So it's cool that we got a chance to for me to actually earn my place as a Raw Bra,
Yeah, and at the same time, before this retreat began, there goes the mic.
Oh, there goes the mic.
I don't know that. But
microphone.
Just a funny little testimony / story about the retreat. When Dan first came, I was mad about, I admitted to everyone, including you, I was mad about your resistance. And at the same time, I was like, but it's good, because now he's triggering a reaction in me, which I'm trying to do here, is get as much reactivity as possible. And he's doing what we're trying to help people do, which is to be themselves. Like, you in that moment, you not wanting to participate in the retreat, or you wanting just to be partly here, that was what you wanted to do in the moment. And I think we all respected that. We were mad at it. And we lived with our anger with each other, and stuck with each other to find out that, and I think this is true for all the times in our retreats, that under layers and layers of resentment, sometimes there's the deepest level of appreciation. And I think
respect. Like, I need to go get a motel room and recalibrate, because I had like a 16 hours in airplanes and airports. And so on one level you respected that, and then on another you resented it.
Yeah, and we had the opportunity to act like that didn't, I'm not going to talk about that. And I'm sure that it would have came out in some other backwards way that we had both not been able to figure out. You might have put too much sauce on my taco. And I'd be like, he always over sauces my tacos. But in reality, it might have nothing to do with it. It might have been what happened, your resistance of the retreat.
Yeah.
And now we get to hit the problem head on, and we get to enjoy it. We get to enjoy that feeling of looking that dog in the eyes and be like, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, those resentments. It's cool that you guys are doing this, because it gives us an example of how we can diffuse. Because, like 10 years later, the husband and the wife haven't talked. And then one day she brings home white bread instead of wheat. And he just goes on a rampage and shoots her. You know? But was it the white bread? No, it was 10 years of unresolved issues, of resentments. You guys could have said, oh, it's Dan the man. We love him and respect him. We won't say anything.
Yeah.
And then it would have just been, searing inside of you, like eating you up.
It's basically we're playing with firecrackers. We're just not letting off the little firecrackers right now to prevent a big bomb in the future that could ruin a relationship. And I think if you let those little sparks off, it prevents that explosion that comes out of nowhere. And it ends sometimes in divorce or ends with broken relationships.
I'm going to ask JP, do you think that it's important in how you approach this communication process? Because I haven't been very good at it, but Lou kind of taught Sophia and I how to communicate. But maybe you could share like a little bit about what someone can do to create a safe space.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really think it's important. I think it's essential. I mean, for me, the paradox is conflict is what creates intimacy, compassionate conflict. And for me, compassionate conflict creates a beautiful relationship, whether it's between a loved one, you and a loved one, or you and friends. For me, avoidance of conflict is what creates that atomic buildup of stuff that ends in the shotgun blast to the chest over white bread. For me, the safe space of compassionate conflict, I'm not talking about aggressive conflict. I'm talking about compassionate conflict, radical honesty. And for me, that safe space is created when we realize that the anatomy of compassion is acceptance of self, which means I, as a partner in a friendship, I have to accept the uncomfortable parts of me, even parts of me I judge to be dirty. I have to accept those enough to present them to you so that you can have your chance to accept them in your time. But if I try and conceal my parts that I don't want to show you, if we have a disagreement and I don't want to really voice how I really feel in a compassionate way because I'm afraid you might not like me, then what I resist persists. It's absolutely true because it rhymes. You can write that down. Dan mentioned my interpretation is that will come out in a misdirected way. Energy doesn't just disappear into nothingness. Energy is there. It wants to express itself in one way or the other. So through compassionate conflict and compassionate acceptance in a relationship, that energy gets to be expressed through the heart chakra. If we repress it, it gets misdirected and maybe a little bit more of a hostile way, maybe through the third chakra where I'm getting passive aggressive towards you or aggressive passive towards you. So for me, you mentioned the stray dog, looking in the eyes, what we might fear the most with the people we're in a relationship with is essential.
Hey, great job, guys. This camera here goes for 30 minutes and then it closes off. But I think that they got a nice flavor. One of my intentions was to inspire. The other one was to show everybody that you guys have really been evolving. And the radical honesty work, which I had no idea about, I had heard about it before, but now I know it. It's really, really great.
It's a great book, too.
Yeah.
I would recommend that. It's a great way to create the context. Because you were asking him, how should you just go out and do this? Or I think it's very essential that you create the context. And I made the joke earlier to watch Rob Ross videos or read the book and then go from there. Like, let's experiment with this. Let's, instead of only talking about what we want to talk about, let's think about all the things we don't want to tell each other. Sit in a room as long as it takes and let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm. And it gets ugly sometimes. I'll never forget the moment of when Dan just started pounding his chest. I wish we could have caught that on camera, but that was the moment. That was like the beautiful moment that I feel like that made everything happen. Like that was it. Man.
Thanks, bro. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Maybe we'll just run it to the end. Hey, Benji, thanks, man. Benji was like, I'm not a guru, but I just love you, man. You have been so awesome.
You guys are all
to
awesome.
meet you.
Yeah.
We're just, all of us are really blessed to have hopefully been of service in one way or another. So check these guys out on the YouTubes and stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to these videos, you can do that. But just anyways, just have a good life and take what we shared here. Educate yourself on creating a safe space in your communications and really allow others without being reactive. Let them share, say back, and let them be relieved, and it will relieve you as well. Peace be with you. We do love you. right?
Amen, bro.
Yeah, I was
Amen.
gonna say stay vulnerable, my friends, and check out robbross.com.
Let it run to the end.